Hello everyone, this is going to be a video about reviewing replays of your losses, and I find this is really key to becoming better at this game. Obviously you like to watch replays where you win, because it makes you feel good, you get to relive the experience. In the same way, you don't really want to relive losses, but it's really important to find out why you lost and learn how to solve that for next time. Because sometimes you'll finish a game and you'll be like, oh, I just got overrun by all these Colossus and they're just imbalanced and stupid Blizzard. But if you look back at the game and by watching the replay, you should be able to find exactly why you lost. And it's not because a unit's imbalanced. You may have the wrong fleet composition, but a lot of the time he just has a larger army or much more upgrades than you. And then you have to look back, okay, why does he have a larger army? And then you can see, okay, maybe he took his third base before you. And then you can see, well, when he took that third base, I could have expanded myself, or he's vulnerable at that point, so I could have attacked him when he expanded. But I didn't notice. And then you ask yourself, okay, why didn't I notice? And then you can say, maybe I'm not scouting well enough, or you can basically break down why you lost the game, or moments where you had an advantage and didn't take advantage of it, which led to your opponent taking a late game advantage or something along those lines. So based on the theme of that, I will be showing you a replay here of where I lost a match. This day I remember I played, and for 8 straight games I faced nothing but Protoss. And of those 8 games, I think 5 or 6 of the games I lost because I went for my fast expand build and the Protoss either broke up my ramp or busted me somehow when I was at my most vulnerable point. Luckily, right before the beta ended, I won a bunch of games versus Protoss, so I feel a little better now. I was almost thinking I had to throw out my fast expand build versus Protoss. So instead, I decided to load up these replays and take a look at them and really analyze what I did wrong. And I think this is probably the best Protoss opponent I faced of those, where I guess I made the least mistakes and he did the most things right. So yeah, this is the replay I'm going to be looking at. Now, my opponent is Zeus, who I've played multiple times, so there's a high probability he knows exactly what build I'm using, because he seems to counter it almost perfectly, where he completely ignores my planetary fortress. He knows exactly what's going on. And I find usually the opposite is true, where even high-level opponents, they play really stupid versus my strategy just because it's so unique that they haven't faced it before, and they don't really know how to react. Which is also one of the major advantages of this fast expand build, is just because it's not standard. Fortunately, I did let the scout in there and didn't get the kill. But not too big of a deal. He's not going to see a whole lot going in my base. He's just going to see no barracks, which is often a good thing. I kind of like when Protoss just tries to overrun me, because they usually get a rude awakening when they find out, hey, I do pump out 4 barracks really fast and you can't bust through a planetary fortress. So if we see Protoss here, he has his second gas up and no warp gate technology, which is definitely key that this is definitely going to be Void Rays. Normally, if you weren't going Void Rays, you'd probably only see 1 gas. You'd see multiple gateways, probably a second, a third coming down at this point, and then he'd be upgrading warp gate technology at his cyber core, or he'd already have warp gates if he was quick on it. So you can see he's coming into my base and he's completely ignoring my front line. I do make this little detour here that he has to run around for the following ones. He's mostly pounding on my door, and I have to just buy time with my SCVs here. Trying to keep them from dying to the Stalker, at the same time not letting any of my buildings fall because I want them to bust through. And at this point, now that I haven't seen the second Stalker, I'm almost, even without scouting, I'm like 95% sure I'm going to be facing Void Rays. Because normally he would be following up with more of a ground force if he was going for a ground force. Of course, I say that now, but I did get a second tech lab, which I wouldn't do if I was expecting Void Rays, so I guess at the time I was still thinking Stalkers. So I do get my Marauder out. My Marauder will be to Stalker one-on-one. So I kill off the first Stalker, but there are no more on the way, and here comes the first Void Ray. And he is now charged up on my first barracks. I have no Marines out at this point. And I got 3 Marines out. He's gonna mow down those Marines. Don't even really get through the shields. And I decided to float my barracks back way too late. It's no help. I also have some missile turrets in the back, which are also not helping. And here's now the second Void Ray. So my Marine does pop. He's trying to take out my second barracks now. And it does pop. Got some more reinforcements of Marines. And they drop almost instantaneously, and I GG. So, besides throwing out my quick expand build order, I need to look back at this and decide how I lost and what I could do differently. Given this is probably worst case scenario, we got someone who's completely ignoring the front line, and then the follow-up of Void Rays.